Good morning, guys. It's Brooke from the Vintage Gardener and Jay, and welcome back to Wildfowl Manor. So today is 4th of July weekend. It is unseasonably cool. We are not usually getting temperatures during the day in the 60s in July, but I don't care. I'm taking it because I can get some stuff done in the yard. So let me show you what I'm doing. So basically I'm doing general maintenance. I'm trying to get some of the flowers I have in the ground. I'm taking a break from planting up this last section because I really want to finish add plants that I've been growing from seed to this bed and the driveway beds before I finish it. So let me show you what I've got. In the pink section, I mean, it's kind of thick in here. It don't matter because I'm pumping it out anyway. I'm going to plant some scented geranium. I got that from Tyler Arboretum. And then I've got some Luminosa Pink Zinnia. So there's more than one in this cup, so I'm going to be separating them out to plant them. And I've got a lot of zinnia in here I'm going to plant. And then I'm also adding some mums. Now, the mums, if you remember from my garden tour, I said I was not going to be bumping them up. And that is because the ones that I just planted straight out into the ground, and let me see if I can find an example for you. Like, for example, this one right here. This is the mum that I planted this year. Look how much it's spread. This thing has literally quadrupled in size since I put it in the ground. You know, I would agree that you certainly shouldn't put a cutting in the ground, but this is not a cutting. Actually, I inadvertently broke off the top of it this morning, and I do not believe this is a patented mom. I'm going to check on that because I stuck the top that I broke off in some rooting powder. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's not patented. If I find that out, I will throw the tip away. But anyway, let me show you the root system on this thing. So I'm using the ProMix BX, and it's got mycorrhizal fungi. Look at the roots right there. Okay, that's a pretty substantial root system, so I feel comfortable just putting this out in the ground because, quite frankly, I think it's going to do better in the ground where I've already got drip tubing, I put fertilizer, than me trying to take care of it in a pot, especially with this amount of stuff that I have. So I have 3 Belle of the Ball. It is, let's see, it's pink. I can't remember which class it is. When I do the video, I'll put the class in the description or on the video itself. And I have 3 of those. There's another one right there. And like I said, I'm just putting in zinnias. I've jam-packed this out with perennials. I've got the Malva Moschata hollyhock. I've got roses. Actually, I have a lot of Moschata hollyhock. I've got some verbascum, and the mums themselves will be perennials. And so the annuals are the poppies and that sort of thing. But right now, this foliage is looking pretty good. It didn't suffer. I think the red section suffered a lot of aphid damage, which is why it looks so bad. This escaped it, so I'm going to let it stay. As long as the foliage doesn't look too gnarly, I'm going to leave it. The zinnias will get big, especially once I start pinching them and I start cutting from them. They're going to get bushy, and I have a feeling they'll probably, even if there is bad foliage, they're just going to kind of overshadow that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to put it on time lapse because, I mean, y'all know how it looks to plants. I'm just going to be checking in periodically to show you what else I've accomplished. So I've weeded this bed. Oh, I see a few that I've missed. I'll pull those out. I actually have let me show you the container I'm using. Yeah, that's what I've weeded. And I also did weed some of the walkway too. But I did not put as much mulch in this section. So after it's all said and done, I may actually throw some additional mulch in here just to help hold the weeds down. But once the zinnias get big, it won't be so much of a worry. I'm just noticing with this Malva Moschata, look how many buds this thing has. That is going to be amazing when it's done. And like I said, it's not finished. This is just its first year. That will actually get 3 feet tall, so it's almost to full height now. So I tell you what, my perennials seem to be surprising me. There's a Scabiosa over there, and I'll zoom in on it. Those little white, like ping pong looking things. That is actually supposed to be 24 inches, and it is 48 inches. So the plants are clearly happy, and that's great. That's absolutely wonderful. But with the Malva moschata, I have a feeling that next year, especially with the verbascum, because those are kind of thin now too, they're going to be 3 feet tall. I think next year this section is really going to fill in and look really thick, which means I'm going to have to get my annuals in really early, because if I try waiting later on in the season, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit them in with how thick the perennials are going to be for next year, which is absolutely fine, because guess what? Keeps down on the weeding. So let me get these planted, and I'll check in with you guys when I get to the right section to show you what I'm going to be doing over there. Okay guys, so it's the next day, and I planted the Carding Millrose. As you can see, I cut it back a lot. There was a lot of damage to the plant, I think because of heat, and so I just went ahead and took it all the way back, basically. And so I can see buds starting to form like at the leaf nodes and everything, so it'll be fine. I mixed in some of the Job's organic fertilizer pellets that'll last for 3 months, so it's set. And I did that one on the other side. So let me show you what I did over here. I tied up all of the poppies because they were looking a hot mess. And so now today what I gotta do is I'm gonna go ahead and plant all the red flowers in here. I think I'm actually gonna cut back these nasturtiums just a wee bit, because these are not trailing nasturtiums and they are spreading further and further into the walkway here. It's kind of crazy. And not to mention, I think they're like totally overwhelming the germander. The germander will eventually get woody and that sort of thing. This year the garden is going to look a lot more, I would say, cottagey than I think it will look once it's matured, because they're germander and you can't even see the holly. Like my structural pieces are really small right now. Once the germander, get some height on them and they get woody, it'll keep the plants from like spilling into the walkway, I hope. Like this germander is spilling over, I think mostly because of this this poppy. So anyway, I'm hoping that this will straighten out. Yeah, it just totally got overwhelmed by the poppy. The poppy just was all over it, laid down all over it. So that's the deal. I do have some nasturtium, and actually let me show you the nasturtium, because you guys are probably going to think I'm crazy. Okay, so these nasturtium are not doing too good at all. There's still some green on them, so they're still alive. I know you guys are probably thinking, why would you plant them? Last year in the driveway beds, I planted some nasturtium in the ground that took off at first, and then they kind of shriveled down with the heat to like this. And then at the end of the summer, once we started getting more rain, they filled out. There is a watering tube. Oh, here we go. The irrigation tube runs right by this area, because the nasturtium do like moist soil. So I have a feeling once I put these in, they're going to rebound pretty quickly, and then they'll just kind of make a hedge on this side of it. So that's what I'm going to do. So once I finish the red section, I'm going to move to the orange section. So I'm going to try to get as much as I can done today. It's definitely warmer. It'll be a little drier. Yesterday, that all of that rain we got was just making the soil very difficult to work in. So for the black sections in the middle this year, aside from doing the walkway, I think I might actually put vegetables over there, because I do have some vegetables and I'm not really in a position to mess with, deal with that over there this year. So just for this year, I'll put maybe some pumpkins in it, because the pumpkins will vine. They'll also create a pretty heavy screen, so I don't have to worry about weeding. And then I will definitely start some perennials, and then I'll plant the perennials in the fall. So for next year, they'll be established. Okay guys, see this mound of leafy vegetation? Yeah, that's the nasturtium. I Chelsea chopped these bad boys down. They were just getting way too big. The soil was really moist under there. I probably was going to start having fungal issues, so I took it back. You know, get more light, it'll dry out, it'll give some more air circulation. I'm sure you can see with the stone just kind of damp, like for right here, it went out to here, and even down here, you know, it was like out to here. Okay, and that's like after a couple of months. And one thing I saw last year with the nasturtium that I grew is that when it gets a lot of water, even though this is supposed to be mounding and only get 1 foot by 1 foot, it was just much bigger than that. It won't die until we get a frost, and we don't get a frost in November. See that chair? By the time, you know, it was out to where the wet spot ends over there, you know, by the time we get to November, it probably would have been over here because that's what it did in the other bed. So I had to take it back. So I planted zinnias, Beaujolais scabiosa. I put some carnations in there, and it'll also give it enough light so things can grow, because that's the other thing. It's just it definitely is great for ground cover because I didn't have a lot of weeds in there. But and the poor germander, oh my gosh, you probably couldn't even see that I had germander under there. So hopefully it'll give everything else under there time to breathe, to grow, and the plants that I just put in will give it time to, you know, develop. And we're supposed to be getting a lot of rain this week because of that tropical storm, so I'm sure in a couple weeks it'll be flushed out again. So next section is orange, and because I trimmed the nasturtium back, I do have some spots like right here and that sort of thing. So, but I'm gonna take a break, get some food to eat. But yeah, it's coming along, guys. It's coming along.